When it comes to tabletop RPGs, a lot of the companies behind games are super woke, and a lot of the people who are part of that scene on social media, at least, support things like cancel culture and jump at the opportunity to gatekeep their community. And over the past few days, a pretty big situation has happened because the CEO of a tabletop RPG company was kicked out of GenCon because cancel culture vultures decided to attack his game, saying he was promoting terrible things because the rulebook for his game had an image of a frog on it. I have a couple of different articles that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic at hand, if you enjoy the content that I create, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Follow me on social media like Twitter or mine so that you can see when my content is posted. And if you do really enjoy the videos and the live streams that I create, please consider becoming a Dark Titan via Patreon for just $1 a month or supporting via memberships. All of the links are in the description, and of course, I do really appreciate all of the support. So let's start off with this Bounding into Comics article. It says the gaming goat condemned by TTRPG community after being accused of using supremacist symbols in new tournament fishing game. So it says after a simple painting of a frog led the gaming goat to be accused of using a white supremacist symbol to promote their new title, Tournament Fishing, a number of tabletop RPG developers have since chosen to believe said accusation and publicly condemn the publisher. This is a really wholehearted game. It's a tournament fishing game, and there was a lot of initial interest for it. They've raised $59,000 on their Kickstarter out of their goal of $15,000, and they have almost 1,000 backers. Now, this isn't a game that I personally would be all that interested in, but I definitely could see that a lot of people would be interested in this. It seems like a very wholehearted, easy experience to play with friends. It seems pretty neat if you like fishing. I personally don't really care about fishing, but that doesn't mean that, hey, there's not other people that care about it. Clearly there are. They have almost 1,000 backers, and there was a lot of initial interest with this project. But let's go back to the article that I was showing off. It says the backlash against the publisher's newly announced fishing-based deck-building game began shortly after its Kickstarter campaign went public on August, this is supposed to be September 7th, when the Dice Tower TTRPG news site contributor drew attention to how there's a game on Kickstarter who's got a frog throwing the white power symbol on the rulebook. And the image at the top of this article is the image that everyone is freaking out about. This little itty-bitty frog is causing massive outrage on social media, all because they're saying he's doing the OK hand symbol. So her initial tweet continued on by saying, just awful. If you don't get the symbology being used here, you've missed the last 5 years. Now, 4chan actually took this symbol to falsely promote it as a hate symbol, but people like this have blown it way out of proportion, thinking people legitimately use it as a hate symbol. The 4chan situation only arose in like 2017, but people have been using it for way longer just to say okay. It was a troll on 4chan that started the whole thing, and now it's been blown up by people like this, and I bet the people who started it in the first place are laughing at the people freaking out over it. Now, scrolling down, she continues to say 100% of this imagery was intentional to trigger the libs, and there's actually proof that there wasn't any intention behind this frog using the OK symbol. She said, so be it. They can laugh at me being upset at their racist BS all they want. If you want to report a project, click the report the project button at the bottom. She's literally saying, oh, I think that this is intentional, so you guys should go and report it. And it wasn't intentional, and there's proof of it not being intentional. She had continued on to say, and look, there's a reasonable chance that Kickstarter will make them change that image to keep the campaign going, and they will. And this terrible thing will be forgotten the next day, but they've shown who they are. Hold them accountable. Now, this person, Suzanne, caused an uproar in the tabletop community saying, I know for a fact this was intentional. They meant to put the white power symbol on this frog to try to own the libs, but she decided after a couple days to protect her tweets and private her Twitter because she realized she messed up, and there is evidence that this wasn't intentional. They didn't have this frog commission to do an OK symbol to have a hidden meaning. But scrolling down, it says Berggren shared a screenshot to his Facebook of a tweet made by Sheldon in which she asserted, as part of an ongoing Twitter conversation, considering who the CEO is and his history in the industry, I'd be surprised if he didn't reply with a shitty take demonstrating his continued shittiness. So many people that I've never talked to in my life posting fun things on the internet, he said, of one of her tweets. Their friends slandered someone for not wearing a mask in a photo, while all of them have photos without masks. That political party affiliation rides hard. I guess if you have no significance to the world, then this is the leg you stand on? At some point following his tweets, a caption was added underneath the image of the frog on the Kickstarter page, which cheekily read, "This is Bob the Frog. Bob is A-OK. Bob the Frog does not have a hateful bone in his body and loves everyone." So clearly they were joking around about the situation, basically showing that they weren't going to remove it, they weren't going to give into this outrage on social media, that this frog really didn't have any hidden meaning. But there's proof that there was no hidden meaning, because there's a frog that legitimately was doing this. It says, reaching out to the artist, Ryan later shared the reference photos used in the creation of the frog artwork as further proof that none of the art in the game is intended to be ill-willed or hurtful. So as you can see, on the left is the rulebook and on the right is the reference photo of the frog, and they're basically the same thing. So this community of people dogpiled onto this CEO, tried to cancel their staff and the game itself when there's literal proof that an artist simply created an art for a game based on a real image of a frog. Is this frog a paid actor? How much was the paycheck for getting him to do such an outrageous and disgusting thing? What's this frog's Twitter handle so we can cancel this amphibian? I mean, seriously. Is this company gonna get an apology from the people who accuse them of having this art commissioned on purpose to trigger people? Of course not, because most of them don't know how to apologize or hold themselves accountable. Now, scrolling down, despite this explanation, the Gaming Goat still received condemnation from their TTRPG peers, as many designers and developers refused to accept that the artwork was anything but a dog whistle. Even if there's proof that they didn't do it on purpose, there are still people attacking them that didn't care about their explanation or care about the evidence showing that they didn't have it done on purpose. It says on Board Games Geek, Badgers from Mars designer announced that the developer had exercised its right to end its licensing agreement with TGG Games, which will come into effect later this year. The reason for this is the inappropriate behavior that Jeff has displayed when communicating with others in the hobby. So further comments in response to concerns raised around their latest Kickstarter campaign have been unacceptable to us and fail to meet even the minimum standard we would expect from an industry professional. Now they're literally saying, oh, in response to concerns raised, the people on social media were not raising concerns to this company. They were trying to get them canceled and they were trying to get their game taken off of Kickstarter. Why isn't this person holding Suzanne responsible for the hate that she, directed towards this company in this game, falsely accusing them of having this done intentionally and having this art created for a specific reason? Are you guys not calling her out simply because she's a female in the industry? I mean, how ridiculous is this situation? They're literally saying, oh, you're not responding properly to the people that want to cancel you and cancel your company and your game, so we're gonna stop working with you. That is absolutely ridiculous. Scrolling down, it says another developer wrote racist statements and actions, explicit or implied threats, abusive and aggressive behavior, or something we condemn and deplore, whether it is on social media or in person. And after all of this social media outrage happened, the CEO was actually escorted out of GenCon. In a public post made on his Facebook page today, which was 2 days ago, the CEO of the Gaming Goat, Jeff, said that he was escorted out of the convention. He posted that he has no word from GenCon's management as to why he was evicted, and he later commented, "I'm $40,000 into this, and I flew 4 hours to get here." He said that he would have someone send me an email. I refreshed, and no email. Now, clearly, this is going on because of the situation that happened a few days ago. But they said GenCon hasn't made a public statement about his eviction other than a post on their forums where it said he will not be attending GenCon. "We appreciate those who have provided information regarding the situation. However, we will not be discussing the situation on the forums. We take our anti-harassment policy seriously, but we do not discuss the results of our decision made with the public for the safety of all involved." And clearly they're not discussing the results of their decision with the person who's directly involved, because he still hasn't gotten a response from them over the situation as to why he was removed. Even a few months ago, with TSR coming back into the scene and trying to put out a new game, we saw these same people try to cancel them over simply saying they had a firm commitment to keep gaming fantasy and how they wouldn't push politics into their games. GenCon and Origins Game Fair both banned the company from attending their events, and we're seeing a very similar situation happen now with the Gaming Goat. But that's all that I really had to talk about in this video. If there are any updates in the future, I will definitely let you all know, whether it is on Twitter, Discord, or in a live stream. But if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way. But I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.